everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is a different type of video. I'll be doing a Q&A about the merchandise role at Walt Disney World. This is a new background for me in my dining room today, so you'll get used to it. But anyways, I'm going to be doing a Q&A. I asked people on the Disney College Program Facebook page, any people who got accepted for merchandise, if they had any questions about the role, like any general questions or concerns. I got 8 responses. Doesn't sound like that many, but these questions and answers will provide a lot of information for you guys, hopefully, that are helpful. So let's get started. So the first question is from Swayze. I'm gonna say all your names. Hopefully I don't butcher your names. If I do, I apologize. But she asked 2 questions. How many hours a week did you work? So basically, it varied every week. I would say the normal week would be 45 to 50, maybe 55 sometimes. It just depended on the time of year. I did do the program in the spring, so it wasn't as busy as the fall months, but times like spring break or Easter or Dapper Day, stuff like that, it got very busy. So the busier it is, the more hours you're gonna get. And her second question was, what kind of shift did you get? And by that she means like, did I get openings, closings, mid shifts, etc. Normally my schedule, I would get either mid or closings. Normally I would close. I wasn't really a huge morning person, so luckily that was good for me because I don't like getting up. But yeah, normally I would do mid shifts or closing, which was like, I don't know, like 3 to 11, 3 to midnight, 5 to 1, 4 to 1. It just all differed. So the next question is from Rachel. She asked 2 separate questions. I'll start with her first one, which is, what are the best or recommended shoes, and do they have to be a certain color or type? So this does vary on location. For me, I worked Main Street East at Magic Kingdom, and we were allowed to wear black shoes. They could either be black flats or black tennis shoes. And somebody asked me if I could provide pictures. I will try to find the best pictures that I can. Me personally, I wore like black flats, dress shoes. They kind of looked like this. Very plain, very basic. With these shoes, you're not allowed to have like flats with like bedazzles on them with like glitter or jewels or logos. They have to be very plain, you know what I mean? Very basic looking, black. For the tennis shoes, I'll try to find the best picture I can. They look like this. They could be like Nike or Skechers, whatever you prefer. I've seen a lot of people with Skechers just because they're very comfortable. Yeah, very plain. If there is a logo on there, that should be okay, but it has to be like not that noticeable, you know what I mean? So basically something like that. Where you get your shoes is at costuming. They actually offer many types of shoes for you. If you don't have the money on you at that time, they can actually put the money, take it out of your next paycheck, so which is good and very convenient. Also, I shouldn't say it for sure, but other like stores with these shoes, like an outlet store, Skechers, or like another shoe store, some of them in the Orlando area do offer discounts to Disney cast members, so that's always good. I know my friend got Skechers, I think it was like 30% off or something because she was a cast member or something like that, so that's very good. Her next question is, how do you avoid just working in the stockroom and actually get to be in the shop interacting with guests? So with this one, the schedule drops every week. You don't really get to pick where you are because they put you wherever they want to, but the good thing about Disney is you are allowed to trade shifts. So let's say, Rachel, you got a stock shift and I got a shift like on stage with the guests. We can actually switch so that I can be in the stock room and you can be on stage with the guests. That's always great. You can always switch with your fellow coworkers. You can't give away shifts, but you can switch. So this can be, you can switch different times, different days, just as long as both shifts are covered. They don't care, like you're allowed to switch. So if you get shifts that you don't want, like at the location you don't want, you can see if you can switch with another cast member. This third question is from my friend Hillary, who I worked with. I don't know if she was being sarcastic, but she said, how do you deal with idiots? You know, every job you work, you're gonna deal with people who you don't think are very, I don't know, intelligent, but at Disney, like, it is our goal to be nice to every guest and to help every single guest. So even if someone's being like difficult or they just don't know what they're doing, you have to help them the best you can, and you always have to be kind and always smile. That's my best advice. I would always just have a smile on my face dealing with all types of customers. This fourth question is from Stephanie, and she asked, what exactly did you do? So I worked the spring 2017 college program. I was merchandise, obviously, on Main Street East at Magic Kingdom. It's basically the opposite side of the Emporium. So it was many different shops. So they were broken up into 3 zones, basically. Zone 1 was Uptown Jewelers, the Pandora store, and the cinema. And this is the costume that I wore for that. And Zone 2 basically was the confectionery, which I was mostly in the confectionery during my entire program just because I wanted to be. And Zone 3 was the chapeau, the theater, curtain call collectibles, and the 2 carts outside. Basically, when you first walk in, there's a cart like to your left, and when you walk out, there's another cart to your left, so those 2 carts. I really enjoyed what I did there. I liked how I had 2 different costumes. Well, I had 3 if you count the stock costume, but I didn't stock much at all. So I basically just wore the 2 that I showed you in the pictures. I was mainly like register. You'll learn once you get down there, depending on your location. There's many different things you can do besides just being at a register, like merchantating, which is basically walking around the store greeting guests. Merchantating, like showing off an item. You did cashier. But there's a lot of different things you can do as a merchandise cast member, and you'll find out. And this next question is from Paige. She asked, how often did you get bumped from different locations, and what was a normal day like for me? So it depends on how many hours you worked with how many breaks you get. Normally I'd get 2 breaks, I'd get 2 half-an-hour breaks, but if you worked longer days, like 10-hour shifts, you'd get 2 half-hour breaks and a 15-minute break. It just all depends. And with bumping, so basically when you clock in, a little slip will print out. It'll tell you where to go. Like, for example, I was mainly in the confectionery. It would say, like, welcome Heather, please go to confectionery 1. And that meant confectionery 1 was register 1 at the confectionery. There were 8 registers, so if it said like confectionery 4, I'd go to register 4. Or if it said like, hi Heather, like please merchantain at the store. That just meant I had to go out and greet guests and show off our products. So it's basically a little slip. Once, let's say I was at confectionery 1 for a while, after about maybe 2 or 3 hours, I would have a different cast member walk up to me and hand me a slip. It would say, Heather, please go on your break. And that person who handed you the slip is the person who's taking over your position. So I would go on break, come back, clock back in, and it'll tell me where else to go, like after my break. And then after a few more hours, I'd have another cast member come up to me, hand me a slip, and it'll say, Heather, go on break. And I'd come back, you know, very, very simple. I really liked it because with each store I was in, I got to work many different registers, I got to do different things. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. You guys will get used to it very easily. And what was a normal day like? I normally worked mid-shifts, closings. I'd wake up, I don't like to sleep in too late. Like, I'd like to either get laundry done, clean a little bit, and then go to work. I didn't like to just lay there and then just go to work. Sometimes even if I was up to it, I would go to a park or like Disney Springs before work. It just depended on how I felt. I would do all that, go to work, come home real late. I always got home at like 1 a.m., sometimes 2. But it was so much fun. So this next question is from Anika. I'm so sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. She asked 3 questions. She asked, where did you work and how long were your shifts? I answered that already, but I worked Main Street East, Magic Kingdom, opposite side of the Emporium. And how long were my shifts usually? Usually 8 hours, 8 or 9, sometimes 10. I never really got under 8-hour shifts. Sometimes you'd get like a 6 to midnight, but that was rare. Do you get to choose a preference weekly on if you work morning versus night? Like I said, when they schedule you, you don't pick your schedule, but you can switch with your friends and coworkers. So let's say you need Monday morning off, but you got scheduled like 8 to 3. You can see if one of your fellow coworkers who's working night, you can see if she can switch you so that you can work night and she works in the morning, etc. Yeah, it's very easy to switch with people. It's on the Hub website. You just give each other your ID numbers and you just go in and switch. It's very easy. They'll teach you how to do that. And did you work over 40 hours a week most weeks? And the answer was yes. I never worked under 40. I think 40 was the minimum number I worked. It was usually between 45 to 50. again, it just varied on how busy we were and how much help they needed. And this next question is from Cam Ray. So sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. She asked, did you pick up any shifts out of your location? And how was it? Would you recommend it? So the answer to this is no. This is probably my biggest regret for my college program, is that I didn't pick up anywhere else. I stayed on Main Street East during my entire program, which is fine because I love my location, but I've had many friends who picked up shifts everywhere. Like, I've had friends who got to work in all 4 parks, they got to work in resorts just because they picked up, and that's just something I never did. I don't know why. I don't know if it was because I was lazy or I was just too anxious to leave, like, my comfortable position at Main Street, but please, 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 please do that. Please pick up other places, because it's so cool for people to have those stories that they worked at Animal Kingdom and they worked at Magic Kingdom and Epcot and Hollywood Studios, at Disney Springs. Like, there's people who've worked, like, all 4 parks plus Disney Springs and resorts, so it's just a good thing to have, like, on a resume or just to tell your friends. I would definitely recommend it. I know, like, if you did that, you'd have, like, a closet full of costumes, and that's just really cool. It's great to just be able to say that you've worked at a lot of places. It gives you more experience as well. So please, 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 please do that if you have the chance. I highly regret not picking up anywhere else. So this last question is going to be from Julie, and she asked, does everybody in merchandise get to pin trade? The answer is yes and no. Again, it just depends on your location. So for me, sometimes I got to trade and sometimes I didn't, and I'll tell you the reason why. Main Street East, we were broken up into the 3 zones, like I said. Zones 1 and 3, when I wore this costume, we were allowed to pin trade, but when I was in the confectionery, we were not, because we worked around food and it would have been a safety hazard. So it just depends. Most merchandise locations you do get to pin trade, which is so much fun. You guys will see, it's so much fun, like trading with little kids, and they get so excited. I had one little girl who had a pin that she needed and she was looking for it, and she found it on my lanyard and she was just so excited about it. It was amazing just to see her excitement. But yeah, that's why I like working zones 1 and 3, because I got to pin trade. And sadly, though, I was in the confectionery most of the time and we weren't allowed to pin trade, so I did miss pin trading when I was in the confectionery. But yes, most merchandise cast members do get to pin trade, as long as they're not around food. So I messed up with question number 4. Instead of Stephanie, that was Robin's question. I'm so sorry. Stephanie's question was best and worst merch story. So I have a million of each of these stories, but I'll basically tell you guys the ones that I best remember. I'll start with worst, just to get it out of the way. This was the only time I ever cried at work at Disney World. So I was working 10 days straight, very long shifts. I think it was day number 9, and I was at register in the confectionery, and if you worked in the confectionery, you know that it's very easy to learn, like, what food is considered a snack and what isn't. So we had some candy apples that were considered snacks, like the basic ones, like the ones like that are just covered in nuts and caramel. But the apples with like ears like this, I'll post a picture. These were not snacks just because they were like $11. But anyways, I was at the register and this woman came up and she just wanted a apple dipped in chocolate, 'cause we didn't sell those. She was like, can you just do that for us? And we couldn't, because the kitchen staff, they're very busy with what they're doing. They have a certain production that they have to do, and we can't just, like, they can't just go out of their way and make a certain item. So this lady was so mad that we couldn't just dip the apple in the chocolate, so she was already so mad about that. And then they left and came back to my register a little bit later, and they brought me up a Mickey apple with the ears. And they said, okay, we want to use this as a snack credit. And I said, unfortunately, ma'am, like, that's not considered a snack because it's, like, more than $10. They were so mad that that wasn't considered a snack. They were, like, cussing and screaming at me, and it was a mess. Normally stuff like this doesn't get to me, but I don't know, I was just working so long. And I was wrapping up the apple, I was putting it in a bag, and I told her the price, and she was like, I already gave you the money. I'm like, no, you didn't. She didn't give me the money. Like, I know she didn't give me the money. She started screaming, like, she called me a liar, she called me a thief, and how can you take my money like that and then accuse me of not, like, giving it to you, and it was bad. And eventually, she stormed out. I went backstage, like, in tears. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I was so done. I was so tired. it was a mess. My leader did count my drawer just to make sure that I was right. I was right. She didn't pay me. It was just a mess. You're not gonna deal with a lot of guests like that. That was very rare what happened. Most guests are very, very nice to you, and if you do encounter some mean guests, they're normally not that mean. It was bad, and I mean, I got over it, but I don't know. It just ruined my day. It was, I wish her the best, whatever. Now my best merch story, it was one of those nights, it was actually one of the last showings of Wishes. It got delayed because it was raining. There was a little girl in the store, very, very, very scared of the thunder. And I just comforted her. I played this game with her. We had like this game. It was like a little plastic bin with jelly beans, like different colored jelly beans. And they had to guess what character like the jelly beans were. So for example, like one little slot had like red and yellow beans, and that's Winnie the Pooh. It was a really cute game. And I played that with her for about 20 minutes until the rain stopped. And my leader witnessed this, and she just applauded me for being so kind to the little girl, and the little girl was just, she felt so comfortable with me, and I did calm her down, so that meant a lot to me. That's probably my best merch story. I was just so glad I was able to help a little girl out. So that is it for the merchandise roll Q&A. I would really like to do one of these again if I get more questions. I'll gladly do one again for you guys. I hope it helped you if you're going into the merchandise roll at Walt Disney World or Disneyland. Good luck to you. You're gonna have the most amazing time. Don't ever give up. You're gonna be tired and stuff, but you'll be fine, I promise. Good luck to you guys. Please let me know about your experiences if you're an alum. Also, if you have any more merchandise questions, just comment below and I'll answer them for you. And that's all today. Thank you guys for watching. Give it a like if you liked it, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'm kind of close to 300 subscribers, and I'd love to hit that milestone, so thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!